Well, it's like being around Larry because I get to be the short, quiet one. And that doesn't happen very often. It's like...
Hey, we're back with more on the Morning Brew today, and we are welcoming to the big table our next special guest. Wally Drangmeister is a native New Mexican, a recovering CPA. And he is I love when you put that in your bio. And he is the communications director for the New Mexico Oil and Gas Association. Wally, it's great to see you.
It's great to be here.
About time you came on this show.
Well, I'm really happy to be here this morning.
Fantastic.
So tell us a little bit about what you do with New Mexico Oil and Gas.
Yeah, I'm the communication director, and this is a big, important industry in New Mexico.
It is.
But the population's in the center of the state, and oil and gas is on the outskirts of the state, so it's a big challenge for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It really is.
Yeah, so you can live in New Mexico and never see an oil well and not know all the things the industry does, and that's my job is to help educate people.
And that's the blood of New Mexico too, is like the oil industry. People don't realize it's such a vital part of the state.
It's a major industry to the state. The amount of taxes alone to the state and local governments is approaching $2.7 billion a year. That's $7 million a day that flows from the industry into the state and local government. So it's a big part of what we do here in New Mexico.
Job-wise, how many people are employed in this industry, roughly?
Yeah, you know, the way the economists talk about it, there's direct jobs, 16 or 17,000 direct jobs. There's probably 19,000 indirect. There's a lot of projects that go on in the industry, so there's a lot of construction companies, a lot of truck drivers. So that's somewhere 17, similar number, even more, about 19. And then there could be as many as 30,000 what the economists call induced jobs. And so the total employment that you can directly tie back to the industry is in the 60 to 70,000 jobs range. So it's big.
Significant.
So are there new projects coming up in the next few years that we can look forward to, or how does that work?
Well, there's
Is it pretty steady, or?
It goes all over the place. Yeah. And right now, the price of oil has been high and stable for a long period of time. The oil producing part of the state, Hobbs, Artesia, Carlsbad, it's going great guns.
Yeah.
Now, natural gas, the price is lower, so where we produce most of the natural gas up in Farmington, they've really suffered. And so it's really two different stories here in New Mexico.
Right.
Well, in terms of natural gas, we're one of the more prolific states when it comes to production of this. I mean, we have reserves that rival a lot of countries, right?
A lot of countries. You know, the way I've been looking at it recently, we produced 1.2 trillion cubic feet of natural gas.
Wow.
That is enough natural gas to supply about 3 days of the world's consumption on an annual basis. Now, that may not sound like a whole lot until you figure out that's a great big world. And, you know, the industry here in New Mexico is contained in a relatively small area, so.
And speaking of around the world, we recently had a visit from somebody from Japan.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, and I want to say his name properly because I pronounce it a lot. Hidehiro Muramatsu is a Japanese government official. He's based out of Washington and works on energy issues for Japan. And he came to New Mexico and met with several people in the industry and state government. He went to the Permian Basin in the southeast, the San Juan Basin in the northwest, and talked to people. And the goal is, with the Fukushima nuclear power plant going down, Japan is importing a lot more natural gas. And the way you import it across oceans is liquefied natural gas. So they're trying to do everything they can to get a stable, low-cost supply of natural gas. And New Mexico is one of the places that they're evaluating.
Let's sell them some.
We would love to do that.
Let's sell them some.
And that's the consensus here in the industry. Now, we're going to need to get natural gas liquefaction plants on the Gulf Coast, or maybe even more difficult on the West Coast, to be able to liquefy it and ship it. But there's a strong interest in the industry to be able to do that and to just bring free market economics to that part of the energy industry.
So that's a work in progress right now.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Good. Just got a couple minutes left. What happened in Mora County? What's going on with those guys?
Yeah, that's a good question. They have outlawed oil and gas in Mora County.
Don't they use oil and gas in Mora County?
They use a lot of oil and gas in Mora County.
Okay.
And just like everywhere else around the state, they get the benefits in terms of their schools are funded largely through funds that come through the state land office. But there are some leases there in Mora County, primarily on state land. So the state's already benefited, even though no oil or gas is produced in Mora County, the state's already gotten money from companies that were looking to drill in Mora County. But they've outlawed it, and we're going to have to see what happens with that.